How can people get into focus state more often and more naturally in this noisy world?
I think people can go into focus states much better if they were less distracted. So I like focus, and I think focus is one of the most important things with everything. If it's on your business, if it's during your workout in the gym, but the question is, how distracted are you? So you have to remove the distractions first. Of course, in the perfect world, we will open our laptop and immediately work. But we have the phone with us, and with the phone, it's very difficult. So I think also a phone is, especially now in these days, the smartphones is one of the biggest distractions. So it's very simple. If you don't want to be distracted to your phone in the room, in your working room, don't take it with you. Leave it in the kitchen, leave it in another room, and that's already one option of removing a distraction.
Are there any other options that were or are effective for you? Like right now, even with on the phone, leave it in the, for example, kitchen. But even on your MacBook, when you open it and you start working, there's a lot of emails, messages,
Yeah,
notifications, and how to get through that.
yeah. Um, I blocked a lot of things, so I turn off the notifications. That's one. Especially what I have on my phone is all the notifications are off, especially social media. And for the laptop, it's the same, you know? Like I have a Windows laptop, so I don't know how it's on the Mac, but I know from people who have a MacBook, yeah, you can do everything on there as well, you know, WhatsApp and all the other stuff. But yeah, just put it on Do Not Disturb, and then you're good to go. And um just doing one task at a time, you know, because sometimes we want to fix everything, and I think that's the problem, that we want to do everything at the same moment. So yeah, just open one tab, do one task, just have a notes, like a paper with all your notes that you wanted to do, like your all your tasks. And if you stripe everything one on one, okay, first I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna do this, yeah, then it will be much easier for you to finish everything. So I think that's the main thing. One tab, one focus, one task. It's that simple.
True. And for example, for me, I find this, kind of making your to-do list on the paper really effective, and it's kind of more satisfying than just clicking on your, laptop that yes is done checklist, but actually, doing it like I don't know if it's, something that just me, but doing it by hand and actually, kind of crossing it, or I don't know what you're doing, then it is more kind of, I don't know how to say it, but satisfying.
Yeah, I understand, and that's also one of the reasons that they always say it's better on paper, especially for writing as well. But because in school we always learn, like, write it down. If the teacher says write it down, because if you write it down, then you're gonna remember it much easier. And of course, we now living in a world, in classes we have like laptops or iPads, and you put it on there. But are you really gonna do something with it? You know, it's like when the teacher said, "Guys, don't forget to take some notes off the board," and you say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna take a picture." You know, you're not gonna do anything with that picture. Be honest. So just write it down, and then it's much easier. But yeah, sometimes for me, I understand. I also have like a smartphone, an iPhone, and I'm putting the notes in there. And then, of course, it's much easier because you have it always with you, right? And your paper notes not.
Yeah, and especially with the when you write something on paper, but it's kind of then you need to write into your computer, and then it's kind of I don't need to like do this twice, so I'll just write it into my laptop and everything will be okay. But kind of you will probably not get into it back. And especially I'm big into journaling and all that kind of stuff, and you write on your through your like hand, and then you come back to it, like for example a year or a month or two. It is like this special feeling of kind of just traveling through time. So
Yeah,
that's for me.
yeah, that's true, and I understand also the journaling on the laptop, because it's much easier to search back what you have wrote before and easier to look back at the days. But I also think like maybe one of the biggest problems that we have right now is that not a lot of people can actually write on paper, without making mistakes, because we all are used to smartphones and laptops with all the autocorrection. But yeah, a lot of people, if you actually tell them, okay, write this down, it's hard.
Yes, it is. Especially like if you're writing something in a different language, you don't even use your phone autocorrection. You just, tap it into ChatGPT and, correct my mistakes. And even I saw this thing that I kind of got worse, or not worse, but I kind of was stuck at grammar because everything was going through, ChatGPT and check this grammar error. Because when you're like writing and you're trying, then you don't have kind of the mental capacity to just go through the mistakes and being sure if you made a mistake or not. Yeah, it made everything easier, and that like kind of goes me through the idea of, as you said, doing one task at a time. But and you said like we want to have everything at once, like right now, right here. And I think that comes with the task too, and with your goals especially. And how can people like train that to delay that gratification time? Because most of things like take time, but not a lot of people are willing to give it, because everything in this day and age is getting faster and faster.
Of course, we want quick results, and this is also something I like a lot of gym metaphors. But most of the thing in business are the same in the gym. Yesterday I saw someone posting like your first business is your body, and I understand him because once I heard a guy talking, and he was giving advice like, "Oh, you want to start a business? Okay, first go to the gym, and then we can see how you are doing that." Because it's the same with online business, There are gonna be days you don't want to go. You're not gonna see results fast. You have to be consistent. As I always say, one day at a time, one step at a time. We already know it. Like it's almost in every self-improvement book, Be better every day 1%. Well, if you do that 100 days, then you're probably a better version of yourself. But that's only if you show up every day, right? So, of course, things, it takes time, but it's very easy when you are at the bottom to start at a low level. So, I'm going to the gym 5 times a week, and somebody came to me, like a colleague from work, and he said, I'm also going to the gym. I'm going 5 times. And I was like, yo, you were first at 0 and now you want to go 5. Just go 2 times, and if everything is going all right, you are having your schedule, you're going like every Monday, every Wednesday at the same time, then in a couple of weeks, months, you can add the third day. And if everything goes right, then you can add another day, And then you have like that line that you're going up, because it's better for you to start here and then end here instead of here and then ending here. And that's it. Like, you have to be patient, and you also have to, yeah, not promise yourself, but more believing in yourself that, okay, if I'm doing this online business idea in 3 days, I'm gonna track all the information. Let me just do it 90 days, and let me give all of myself in 90 days. And after the 90 days, I'm gonna check, do I have to change something? Was everything good? Are things bad? And then it's easier for you to track it. But yeah, low maintenance. It's important.
And especially kind of, you said like, starting small and kind of getting better and better. If it's like in the gym, as you said, you start with small weights, then you can eventually get stronger and you will get better and better at it. But sometimes even I had these moments that are like, really this small task will make such a difference. And you want to work harder and better and like this isn't enough kind of vibe that you get when you're working. And it's wanted to hear your thoughts on that maybe even you had this feeling, and how did you overcome it?
Again, the last sentence.
How did you kind of overcome it, or when you help people,
Yeah,
especially entrepreneurs
yeah.
that maybe have this feeling, like how do you overcome it?
I always I always tell that we are living right now in the time that we want to see results fast, and things take time because we are we are also a bit addicted to the phone. Not a bit, a lot. So that's the same thing with the results fast. Like when you get like the dopamine hit, right? When you're watching reels, shorts, TikToks, immediately you feel happy, you feel alive. And the reason why a lot of people not going to the gym is because they are thinking, I'm gonna feel pain, it's gonna be hard, I have to go there, I'm gonna train. But they don't think at the moment how they are feeling after they left the gym, because we can agree with everyone. When you're There are gonna be days you don't want to go, but when you are walking out of the gym, you're thinking, I'm so happy I went. Because you could have stayed at home, and also with time, because sometimes people think like small steps are nothing. If you want to read a book, a self-improvement book, and you're reading 10 pages a day, it is maybe a lot for some people. And but yeah, 10 pages, if you're really reading it slowly, it's not even 30 minutes, but if they have to scroll on their phone, the 30 minutes go, it's much easier. So I think the most important thing in the beginning is also, why am I doing this? Find your why.
It kind of gets to the topic of purpose and why are people doing it. And I probably making a newsletter about this, about your motivations and how to actually get disciplined. Because I was thinking about motivations, that all of these entrepreneurs and all of these people actually achieve their goals, and they probably did it because of the anger, or they wanted to prove someone wrong and all of that stuff. And now when they achieved it, they kind of, oh, why am I doing this? And they kind of lost their purpose and finding it. Or even entrepreneurs that started a business but then said, I should have been a writer or somebody else. And I was kind of scared because I didn't want it to like end up like that. I wanted to do something that has a real purpose. I don't want to do something just out of kind of fear and the discomfort of it. And actually, that's really hard. I find it out, and kind of was talking a lot to these people about discipline and internal or external motivations and how that plays a role. So wanted to know your opinion too.
Yeah, of course, it's very important that you're doing what you want and that you are happy with what you're doing. So if you want to be a writer, yeah, go write every day. And of course, people are gonna think in the beginning first, how are you gonna make money with this? Why do you want to be different? Stay in school? Why are you quitting this job? We having fun here. But you don't have to also overshare everything with people, because people are always gonna question things, and they are gonna say stuff because they don't want to put themselves in those situations, you know? So when you're 20 and you're working at a job and you're saying, hey, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna chase my dreams, of course the manager of 40 is gonna say, why? Why are you going to, where are you gonna work? What's the reason? Because he those do those things anymore. Of course he can. He's not old, but for him is maybe a little bit more difficult because he already has like a family, a home. He has to bring immediately money. And I think when you are finding your purpose, of course it's going to be a journey alone, but you're going to connecting with people and people will find you. You don't have to find always people, you know. You can start an account on X and talk about the topics that you like. People are gonna engage with you and send you a message on your DM. Yeah, you're gonna get like better energy from people around you. So I think this is also. I spoke with someone in the DMs on X, and we had a conversation as well that like a lot of people around me don't even know what I am doing. They don't know I am building something online. They they don't know it like because they are not online and maybe they are not on X, you know. I think maybe I've like one friend who's on X and the rest of them is on like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. They don't even know all the stuff what I'm doing, and just follow your heart and what you want to do, and people will find you.
Agreed. And that because even myself, most of like 99% of people I know, like outside this online space, don't know that I'm doing this. They have no clue. And I think it's better like that because it kind of gets away, a lot of, I think, either expectations people have about you and opinions. But, as I was thinking about it, it was more of what if they find out. I kind of, me not telling them about my business or them not knowing, it was kind of more strategic of me that I didn't want them to know. So it was more of a just fear of them knowing about it. But then eventually, in my case, it kind of, the fear of them kind of knowing, not knowing, but them fear of finding out that I have this X page or I'm doing this, podcasting stuff went like away. And I'm not going to tell them still, but at least if they find out, then I'm okay with it. I'm not going to stop because I kind of accepted that I'm not as them, or I will never be.
Yeah, and I understand also like because maybe when you're typing your name on YouTube or Google, people can find you, you know. And of course, someone came up to me like years back and he was saying like, "Hey, I saw you on YouTube because I had an account before in two," and he was like, "I never knew you were doing this." And he was watching the video again next to me, and I said, "Yeah, this is what I'm doing. I like to make videos. You can watch it when you're standing next to me. It's not cringe or something." But also, the part what you were saying with expectations is like, I think one of the biggest problems people have a lot of expectations also from their friends, because when they are start something, you know, maybe not all of their friends is gonna repost their stuff, you know, and maybe you're you're thinking like why they are not doing it, because when you're posting a new podcast, maybe you're expecting from friends to repost your podcast. They are not doing it, and you're gonna question yourself why. I'm your friend, right? You wanna support me. But when an artist drops his new album or song, they're gonna repost it, and but the artist doesn't know him. So I think the best thing that you can do is like not tell anybody what you are doing. You're gonna find your people who are connecting with you. I see a lot of people on Instagram who are posting motivational reels. They're starting a new account, you know, because maybe they have 300 followers and they don't want to post on that account because they're not gonna get much love of the people they already know, because the people they already know, their friends, they're maybe gonna think, it's cringe to share this with my people, but it's not. You're supporting your people. So that's why people are starting like a new account or not saying anything to other people that they are online active because you will get much more love from strangers.
Yeah. It's kind of sad when you think about it, but it makes sense, when, those all of those people and friends kind of saw you in the same way all of your life, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm changing now, and maybe they are too, like they have a fear that, oh, he's changing now, he's improving, he will left me behind, or something. So I try to have empathy towards them too, but yeah, like the internet has a lot of like drawbacks and things that are not as good, and like can harm you a lot, but you can find your people there, and you can improve a lot. But it kind of depends on what you're consuming and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
And another question one of mine was, how do you like why do you think people don't make progress on their goals?
Maybe because goals are not specific. So a lot of people have goals, especially at the beginning of the year. Again, a gym metaphor. I want to go to the gym. I'm gonna get fitter 1st of January, and in February they will quit. It's also because, like, if you're gonna ask them, what is your goal for the gym? Yeah, I want to be healthier. Want to have a fitter body. My body has to be fit, but that's not the specific goal. Because if you are like 150 kilos and I am 100 kilos, for example, I'm not 100 kilos, but I have a different goal. I also want to be fit, but we have like specific reasons to be fit. So again, what is your why and how do you want to do this? So the problem is you're gonna tell yourself, I need to be healthy, I want to be fit. No, you're gonna tell yourself and write up, I'm going to the gym this time, this day, and I'm gonna lose 1 kilo every week. 1 kilo every week is very simple if you are really dialed in, but that's how you can easily track your progress. Because, like, if you're doing 1 kilo every week, then in 4 weeks it's 4 kilo. 2 months, 8, 3 months, 12. Well, you will see the difference after 12. But in the beginning, you cannot imagine, like, whoa, me losing 12 kilos in 3 months. And in 3 months, it's very low maintenance. It's very easy to do. But if you're doing like every week one, then it's much easier. So I think people are not making progress because their goals are not specific enough.
Makes sense, and especially as you said on the gym, like I want to get rich, for example, or I want to get healthy. There are a million ways how to get to that goal. But like, what do you want, like specifically, and what is the system that you are going to go there? Of course, even going to the gym every morning for people can be really hard, but as you said, like before, even the smallest action, going on a walk every morning can really help. And, starting that small. And when I had this conversation with this, nutrition coach, he said, yeah, like sometimes you will miss the gym or miss the goal, and that's okay. You will kind of lose the 1 kilo next week, and you will hit your kind of overall year goal like a week later, but it's not a reason for you to quit or for you to kind of give up on this. Like what happens.
Yeah, that's true because, for example, if you're going if you're going to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you're missing Thursday, if I miss Thursday, I'm gonna think, oh shit, I really wanted to go, but I really don't have the time anymore. because I have other stuff to do. I am already thinking about tomorrow. Okay, I missed Thursday. It's bad, it's okay, but I can wait. I can wait to go Friday. And then Friday you're gonna give some extra, or you also have to keep things fun. So of course when you're checking your nutrition, it's good. And but you don't have to be like, you can do it also on a fun way, because yes, of course I'm going to the gym, but I also like pizza, and I really love it. And there are people going to the gym and they are getting like backlash from other people. Well, I cannot see that you are going to the gym, but most of the people are going also for mental health, because at the end of the day, it's how you feel, of course, but we also want to see the image of how someone is going to the gym. But what I say with fun, if I'm going on vacation with some friends and they're saying, yo, let's go eat here. And I'm saying, like, no, I have to check on my nutrition. I cannot eat this. Let me make a photo. How much calories this? Yo, I'm on vacation. Let me just have fun for this 1 week, 2 week. After the 2 weeks, I can focus again. So, of course, it's sometimes okay to miss like a day, but as long as you don't quit immediately.
It reminds me the rule of, James Clear has that never miss 2 days in a row because, one missed day is kind of mistake or, you're just kind of having a rest day, for example, but two missed days are a start of new habit. And oh, one of the other thing was that most people, like, of course, it's good to sometimes give your all and, go to the hustle mode, but I believe that life comes in seasons, and especially, when it comes to my routines, like right now, I'm doing this kind of aiming for sustainability rather than doing this like, oh, I need to especially do this and especially do that, and all of the, for example, things I like to, watch a movie every night or, watch football with my, dad. I will not just kind of quit all of that just because it's 9 p.m. and I'm getting up at this time and I will quit that. Kind of, it's about the priorities and kind of sustainability and not making yourself like miserable just because you didn't want it to miss that one day, because you could even regret that you didn't like kind of took a day off in the future.
Yeah, and it's also like what you're saying, it's about the priorities, because you can keep things fun. If you have to work on your online business, but you have other stuff to do, just check your schedule, how you can fit in the time for all your tasks. Because one example, what I like also was your conversation with Tisa that I saw, and I saw him spoke about it on Instagram, and I was thinking like, whoa, I like this reel of him because I'm using always the same example. Like people are saying they don't have time, but I always say, okay, let me check your phone time, what you're using, and then we can easy find the time there, you know? So, for example, people are saying, I don't have time to go to the gym, I don't have time to write, I don't have time to maybe sit in a room and think about what do I really want. But if they are checking like their screen time on their phone and on our iPhone, we get a notification every Monday. You can see how much time you spend on Snapchat, Instagram, and all the scrolling stuff. So, yeah, the question is like, where are really your priorities?
Yeah, and especially like I wanted to get into that. How you find your priorities and how do you schedule your time? Because I know like you're a father, your husband, you're building this thing, you're going to gym, which like all of that is great and big respect for that. But I kind of it blows my mind how you can like consistently improve on those things while just having so many priorities, because I have like school and almost none responsibilities, and I'm just glad I'm improving and doing this thing.
Yeah, thank you. It's, of course, you now. you're thinking, most of the people are thinking, okay, now you don't have a lot of time anymore. But the fun thing is, you're gonna use your time much and much better. So now you don't have like any time for bullshit. For example, if you're if I'm taking my if my son has to take a nap, he can be awake in 30 minutes or he can be awake in 1 hour or 2 hours. But immediately from the time that he's starting to take a nap, then it's my time, for example, or my wife. But now I have 30 minutes. How can I make the best out of this 30 minutes? Before I had a son, I work with like a Google Calendar, and I always tell people like put your stuff in there. It's really fun with the colors and stuff, and you can see the time blocks that you are doing, and then you can plan ahead. But now I'm a little bit more off the schedule, but still finding time to do the things that I have to do. So, of course, for work, if I'm working from what I said to you before in our previous conversation, I'm going to the gym in the morning because I have to work at 8, from 8 to 4:30. Yeah, then in the evening, it's my time. It's not a lot of time, but I have to make the best out of the time that I can do. And then the bullshit maybe that I was doing before, checking Instagram, Reels, and stuff. No, I have to skip that because I have to choose. This is my only time. I only have like 30 minutes. When my son is taking a nap, I'm gonna watch Reels or I'm gonna make progress on my laptop or writing.
Makes a lot of sense, to be honest. And kinda, I've saw this pattern in my life that on the days when I have school, 7 hours, I can use my time a lot better because I know I have limited time. But, on those days I have free, I'm kinda, less productive, even, I would say. And now when you're like talking about it like that, I see why, honestly.
Yeah, and yeah, it's of course planning your schedule is very important, but also a little bit flexible. So before, like 2 years ago, I had a friend. He was calling me, "Yo, are we gonna go to this restaurant? Let's hang out tonight." And I was like, not to be rude or something, but I can go in 2 weeks. Then I am free because the things that I'm doing right now, I already planned this like 1 week before, 2 weeks, and now with a son, it's a bit more difficult. But I think it's good to plan things. I'm not saying like be flexible all the time, but planning things ahead can also be good. Because I'm in my 20s and I have to work. We have a work schedule and with my friend as well. So then we can plan in the future. Okay, are you free this Saturday? No, I have to work. Okay, maybe the Saturday after that week. Okay, let's plan. And now we have like a date and we put it in our agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to get that, I know like you did the fact that you became, a father change your mind about, discipline, consistency, and purpose in general, because we saw it kind of change the, time and how you see like, your schedule and stuff. But did it change, the other things too?
Yeah, of course, because before I had a son, I wanted to win in life. I'm not there yet. Of course, I'm not there yet, but I want to win in life. And now he's giving you like an extra purpose. So you are going to be more disciplined. Of course, there are going to be long days that I'm not seeing him very often during the day because I am in work or at the gym. When I'm coming home, maybe I see him like 30 minutes. But he knows, okay, that was going to work. He's fixing things. And when you see like your child, I think it gives you like extra purpose, and extra motivation as well. Because you want to be like you want to be his hero, right? You want to motivate him as well. In 10 years, if I want to be like a very fit body, yeah, maybe he wants to be like me. Like that's also the thing that I have. And also right now, if I'm at home, for example, I'm doing like some push-ups on the floor. He's watching me and he wants to join me. You know. So yeah, that's one thing. If I'm laying on the at the couch and I'm scrolling on my phone, yeah, what's he's gonna do? You know, he's also gonna later thinks, oh, this is normal. My dad is doing it. Let me do the same. You know, because we also see like outside a lot of examples of people. You know, like that you see maybe like a child and maybe he's like a little bit fat, and then you see like his father, and yeah, it's the same. You know, then most of the I'm not seeing it here a lot of, but I always picture it how in America, you know, because they are also eating like a lot. And my grandma always say like, yeah, this is like a American family. They're how they are looking, you know, because you and I live in Europe, you know. And for example, if you're going like to a bar or like one of the fast food stores, we have like an XL drink, you know, but them XL is like very different, you know.
True. And especially, I always, wanted to go to America, but the older I get, the more I kind of believe that when I will get there, the food is going to be just 10 times worse. And I'm trying to appreciate what we have in Europe because even I had friends there and everything is so big and kind of artificial.
That's why
But
they big.
yeah, it's like why they big. And to get to your point before, like I agree, and I can take it from even my opinion that my dad even now has to work sometimes, long hours and or in job they have just a lot of things sometimes, but he makes sure that I know that is for his job, and after he ends this thing, I will have, for example, his full attention, or we can do this after this because he has a lot of things in work, and it kind of even motivates, me to work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So your thing with consistency and that your child kind of sees what's becoming normal or what's normal is, I think, very true.
Yeah, I understand, and it's also like what you're saying with your dad. Okay, I cannot do this now, but we can do it later, and that's good. You know, it's also very important that we as people don't take our work at home or do things half. So okay, let me go half on my phone and half spend time with my child. No, I already worked like the whole day. Let me go home, put the phone away, and let me give my full attention to it, to the things. And that can be like your family or the stuff that you're really doing, but it's the same example, like one task, and you can focus much more and much better. And at the end of the day, me as a father, I know there are gonna be days like it's gonna be very hard and I don't want to do this, but or I'm gonna be away the whole day of my wife and my son. But when I come home, I always tell like my wife, okay, I'm doing this for us. You know, this is like in the long run, it's gonna be like the benefit for us, and that's the same like we spoke before. You know, thinking long term, see it in the bigger future. Of course, maybe this is like some shit work I don't want to do right now, but in the long run, I can see it.
Agreed. But especially for me, it's kind of the thing that not just doing this for I will get to the next thing, the next thing, next thing, and then, kind of the end never comes. It reminds me of the story of a fisherman that, kind of businessman comes to him and he says like, "Oh, why you don't sell your fish and why you just, don't do this business thing, and why would I do that? So you can have a bigger boat, you can have a bigger fish, bigger business, and why would I do that? So then you can, retire and just be with your family, catch some fish, and go home. Well, he's doing that right now. So, it's kind
Yeah,
of the thing that, yes, having big ambitions and kind of doing something in this life, but at the same time not just kind of, "Oh, I will have a rest or I will be with you after the next thing or maybe the next thing and the next thing and it never comes.
yeah, I love that story of the fisherman. Last Last week I wanted to explain it, but I forgot a little bit of the story. But how you are telling it, like it makes sense, you know. It's like a very good story that everybody has to know.
Agreed. Agreed. And as you said, I wanted to get back to the motivation part. It was that, even your son is giving you even more purpose and more of that. And I'm like curious, what was your purpose, even before you had the son? And did the purpose just absolutely change, or just your son gives you even more kinda into that?
Yeah, I would say like my son will give me like more purpose, you know, because I want to be successful in life because yeah, I want freedom, and the reason why I want it so I can spend more time with my family, and I can buy things that we need and we don't have to worry about it. And I'm not talking about like very very expensive things, you know, because again people are saying like they want to be rich, you know, but for every out there it's different, you know. For some people they want to make like k a month, or some people like saying like k a month is already enough for me, like, and everything above is extra. But for me it's like I want, yeah, I want to be successful so he doesn't have to worry about his future, and especially things that are changing right now. Not a lot of people are like, for example, happy with the school system. They are doing like homeschool and stuff. But yeah, if you don't have like the assets for that, you cannot do homeschooling. You have to bring your child to a couple of places. You have to go to that job that you don't like. So for me, it was especially like the freedom. What was my purpose that I still want to achieve, but because I'm still working a 9 to 5 job. But yeah, especially like for my children, you know, so we don't have to worry like, okay, let's go on vacation, let's go back to the motherland and stuff. And I don't want to say to them like, okay, I can't go because I don't have like permission from my job. So we cannot see your grandma and stuff, you know? So yeah, that was mainly like the purpose.
Yeah, makes sense. And with that, I even wanted to touch on the kind of religious part of it. I think you're Muslim, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, okay. And wanted to, because I'm interested in it, like how it affects, like even now, as you said, kind of your purpose and your job, and how it works. Does it have some, benefits or drawbacks, or how do you kind of think of it?
Yeah, right now at the moment, I don't have like any problems because I understand maybe back in the days people are maybe a bit scared. They have to tell at their work they are religious because maybe they won't get hired or they can do stuff that we have to do. And one example is like praying. So we have to pray like 5 times a day and we cannot miss one before the other one is coming, you know. But if you're communicating at your job, you will never know what the options are, you know. So one example that I heard from a guy, he didn't tell at his job interview that he was Muslim and he has to pray. So he was doing it while nobody knew it, and he did it like in an empty office room at the same time, at the same moment. And after 3 4 months, there was somebody in that empty office room, and he walked in there and he said, I just wanted to pray here and stuff. And you know what that lady said to him? But we have like a special room for that. They didn't tell you about that? And he was like, and this is like when you don't tell things in the beginning, you don't know. So at my company at the office, we have like a meditation room for people who want to read or pray or meditate. Doesn't matter if you like Muslim or Christian, you know. So yeah, and right now it doesn't affect me at the moment, and that's good because, like, for example, I understand I'm not living in a Muslim country. Not all the food here are things that I can eat and stuff, but no, it doesn't affect me.
Makes sense. Actually, and even with the story you said, kind of the importance of communication, and asking and doing all of that stuff because you never know, and kind of just the fear of kind of asking or failing or everything can kind of self sabotage you into going to this empty office room every time, kind of being scared if somebody is gonna see, or all of that stuff. And they had prayer room like in the building.
Yeah. So, and that's the perfect example. The reason why there is a praying room is because there are already like people back in the days, maybe 60s or something, when the building was built, they told it like at the job interview, and that's the reason why there's now like a praying room, a meditation room, because they were communicating back in the days. So why won't we telling it now? You know? And it's very simple. If I have to tell it, a prayer is like 5 minutes. It doesn't affect anyone, you know? But it's just like me for myself. But yeah, I don't know. I see different countries, they're like a little bit strict about religions, you know, not only Islam, but also like Christianity, you know. So I saw like a video of someone who was telling like in their school break and where all the people get the food, you know, they were like folding their hands and praying, maybe for a test or something. And someone walked to them and said, "Hey, you cannot do this here." And I was watching that video, I was like, but it doesn't affect you, you know? It's like for themselves. But yeah, if you're at the end of the day, communication is everything.
Agreed. The Christianity, like most of it is praying before food is kind of a tradition that you kind of thank the God for the food. Or even if it was in the school, it's kind of probably more of that they were praying before the test, honestly. So yeah, it's kind of, yeah, if it doesn't affect you, like why is it so kind of triggering to you that somebody is doing this?
Yeah.
And I know you're big on this focus thing and trying to get into even this kind of stuff and hyper focus. And I wanted to know, like, what do you think about the flow state? Because I know that's a big thing. Even like with our mutual friend, like Tissat, we talk about this a lot and wanted to know your perspective.
Yeah. I think he's like making like also great videos, especially on the reels. And yeah, I think flow state, it's very hard for you if you're experiencing it by yourself to explain it to somebody else, you know. They have to figure it out by themselves, and again it's like getting rid of all of the distractions. I can, yeah, I can tell you, I can draw something, I can give the biggest benefits of flow state, but if you're not experiencing it by yourself, it's very hard. So for example, if I am working on my laptop, I have like my headphones on with noise cancelling, and I have like a mental energizer. So in the beginning I was like, what is this? How I'm gonna work with this sound? But somebody said to me like, yo, after 7 minutes, or I read it in the comments, after 7 minutes, 8 minutes, you're gonna get in the momentum. And it takes time, you know, to get in the momentum. But I can only say like you have to experience it by yourself. And what I saw also in the book of Hyperfocus from Chris Bailey is that he's saying like you have to make like a kind of ritual for yourself, you know. So you have to couple things to do things. For example, drinking coffee. I love drinking coffee, and I also see a lot of people are saying like it's the best like normal drug or caffeine stuff. But for example, if you want to go like in very like in a focus mode, but you don't know how, Just for example, buy your coffee, and when you are drinking it, after the moment you are drinking it, you're telling yourself, okay, now I'm gonna focus for 30 minutes. I told this thing to my sister, and she said to me, like, I never thought about that, but I was already doing it. So when I have to study for my exams, yeah, I don't want it, but you know what? I'm gonna buy my matcha, and after I drink it, then I can study much easier.
Yeah, it's kind of gets to the habits and routines of it. And especially as you said at the beginning, yeah, I really like the analogy of flow to sleep because it's kind of mind state. And when you try to, just explain it to people, it's kind of, yeah, you just, you lay down, you close your eyes, and then you kind of just, sleep. But, it isn't that simple. And you need to get into that state, which is very hard to kind of
Well,
say
for me,
say like explain to people, as you said.
yeah, yeah. Well, with sleeping, I have like the same thing. In the beginning, like a few years back, I had problems with sleeping. You know, I was scrolling on my phone, watching YouTube, and went to bed like in the morning. Of course, I cannot go sleep early if I don't wake up early. So I have to break that cycle, you know? Now I'm at the point I tell people I go to bed at 9, at 10, and they are telling, no, I can't do that because, yeah, the reason why is because they are not tired enough yet. So somebody told me, like, just start your day earlier. And yeah, if I wake up like 4:15, yeah, then for me at 9, so 4:15 in the morning, when it's 9 p.m., yeah, I'm gonna be tired, and then it's much easier for me to sleep. And I don't have any problems with that because I also have like a sleeping mask. I don't want to wake up by daylight, you know, or some things that are like affecting my sleep. No, it's the same thing with the habit. The moment that I'm putting on my mask, I can't see anything, even if I open my eyes. But my mind is telling me, okay, now it's dark. It's like I'm a bird or something, you know. You put like a blanket on the cage, and then he's gonna know, okay, now it's night.
Agreed on that. If it's the 5 a.m. club, I'm kind of the same. And especially when people or I know that are telling you, oh, I don't sleep by 4 a.m. and I'm like, why? I don't know. I just wasn't tired, And then you like try to waking up at 5 a.m. doing all of this work, gym and stuff, and don't tell me you're like kind of not tired at 9 a.m. Like it
Yeah,
is hard to not get tired when you're waking up early and you're doing all of your work. To be honest.
yeah. Of course, I understand, but especially you you don't with the sleep. You know, it's like the habits. Right now, in these days, we have like sleeping coaches. The only thing they are telling is like teaching people how to sleep, and it's like your routines and your habits in the evening, and everything starts there. You know, because yeah, sometimes people are saying like, no, I'm gonna go on my phone and stuff. Yeah, if you're going on your phone right before you're sleeping, yeah, you're gonna be like active. Your mind is still on, and if you replace that with 30 minutes of reading, well, I can tell you this, you're not gonna even make it the 30 minutes because after 10, 15 minutes, you're gonna feel tired and you're gonna moan, and then it's much easier for you to sleep, you know? So it's the same time, but a different habit.
Agreed on that. Because exactly, and even this is not even for sleeping, but it's more of a kind of what do you do before the task, or even when you have some, in school you have some hard test, or you are preparing for the presentation. The preparation or the presentation or something like that, I don't know how to say it exactly, doesn't start when you kind of go to the conference room and you start talking. It starts the night before when you make sure you have good sleep and your mind is clear and you know what you're talking about. You go through your slides and all of that stuff, that you make sure that even the stuff before it is good, because it essentially affects most of it.
Yeah, that's true. And what you're saying as well, the preparation is very good, you know. So, of course, if you know you have a task in 2 weeks or a presentation and you're already starting right now, well, it's already a good begin. Or you can procrastinate and wait till the last day because you're doing other stuff. Yeah, then you have to ask yourself, where are your priorities? Or do you really want this?
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, even pressure is privilege, but that doesn't mean I was having this podcast with Danny Noah. I don't know if you know him, but it's like,
I think yeah, I know.
yeah, then we were talking about this pressure thing, and he was saying, I think pressure is a privilege because it kind of gives you even the external motivation and kind of just makes it more, even not even exciting, or even with a little bit of adrenaline that can be even make it more fun, but more stressful even too. So when you have some tasks, of course, if you going to prepare 3 months before this task, or if you even know it, then it's kind of, you don't have even a really motivation to start doing it. But if you kind of get to it and you kind of a week or 2 weeks before it you start because it's important to you, and you at the same time have some urgency to do it, then I think it's better that way because
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. And I think people are handling pressure on different ways, you know? So if you are knowing you have to, yeah, you have a presentation tomorrow and you have to fix things this evening, yeah, then it has some urgency and then you are really going to fix your stuff, you know? I had the same thing with my sister. She was procrastinating a little bit and then she was like, I really have a test tomorrow and now I don't have any option. I have to do this now. And then it's also easier for you to do it right now. What happened? She studied like the whole night and then go to school and yeah, she passed the test, but that was because she doesn't had any other option. And when you're knowing some things have urgency, it's much easier for you to achieve them.
yeah, like it's incredible what, not even with school but with everything, what person can do if they have no other option, you know because even I think when achieving your goals, or even in marketing, it is like that. When you have just too many options, you're not, you will probably not pick one. Or when you're too, comfortable in that situation you are now in, you don't have kind of that sense of urgency that you need to kind of get moving, you know. But at the same time, of course, kind of you need to pick, I heard this, you need to pick your, I think, your rock bottom or something. You need to pick when you will learn the lesson, because yes, you can start working on yourself when your life is kind of bad here and there but not bad enough to know you change something. Or you can start when you are almost homeless, but that's not ideal too. You kind of need to find that spot.
Yeah, that's very true. And I don't know from which book this quote was, but someone said like burn your ships, and you know that's like the example from people back in the days when they want to take some land. You know, they go on the other land and they burn their ships. Like, okay, we don't have an option. You're gonna stay here and we're gonna conquer this island. And then you have some urgency because there's no plan B.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of like, I think in every one of those tips we give people and all of that other stuff, it is kind of, you need to kind of apply this to your own life, or just use what's useful to you. Because I think even me, I'm kind of a hyper responder to any advice that, if I think something is, for example, true in theory, or we are talking about this, then I'm like, oh yes, this must be true. I need to implement it. I need to just don't do nothing else but work. But it doesn't kind of work this way. I kind of like thinking of advice like kind of a little, hats you may try or things you try. Like if it doesn't suit you, just throw it away and try another one. It kind of is like depends on your context a lot.
Yeah, that's also very true what you are saying. So, um, of course, people are always saying like, wake up in the up early, go to the gym in the morning. Even going to the gym, there are some people they don't like to go to the gym because a lot of people are there, maybe not natural light and other stuff, and they like other things. They are saying like, I don't go to the gym, but I'm walking every day in the forest, in the morning, in the evening. I'm playing some paddle with friends as well, and then you're still moving, and then you're still doing things that you are liking, so yeah, they saying like, not a jacket fits everyone, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, like just any clothes will
Yeah,
kind of just do the thing. You just, you try it, and if it doesn't suit you, you can try another one and
yeah,
throw that one away. And especially I have it like that with sports that I don't force, like not force, I don't force myself into anything kind of with. Not true, but of course you don't want to work out before the workout, but you kind of get into it and then you're proud of yourself. But for me, even not after I'm proud of myself, even sometimes during, as you're kind of in the pain, let's say, and you're doing the stuff, I like it. And especially with sports, if I hated it every second of every day, and after I would feel horrible, and before I felt horrible, it would feel just, everything was horrible. Then I wouldn't do it. But sport is for me something like you don't need to just go to the gym. Sometimes you can just run, sometimes you can just go do something with your friends and kind of having this sport in your life, and it's a great way to connect with people too.
yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
true. That's true. Because if I'm going to the gym and I'm doing a workout, I finish the workout with a cardio session, like 30 minutes or something. And I have a friend, he said, like, I don't like the track mile. I rather walk outside because I can see stuff, I can see the sun. It's much better for me. And I was like, I understand you, but I like the track mile. I can go outside, but yeah, the track mile is like also a good thing for me, because I can easy see the time, much easier for me. When I'm done, I'm done. During the session, yeah, I'm not gonna watch Netflix or something. I'm gonna watch like a deep talk podcast maybe, during the workout. So then it's much easier.
Agreed on that. Even I wanted to touch on this thing that is, I think we talked before that before, you had your 9 to 5 and before you were kind of on X, you were helping people kind of with life coaching and with focus, especially. And I wanted to know, like, what advice kind of helped people the most, or they had their aha moment at, the advice.
I think one of the best things was writing their stuff down. So it was some simple things, like I have some sticky notes at my laptop and I was telling them the same, you know? And it can be like some easy quotes, but you can spread them at all over the house. So that was one thing that it was helping them, like sticky notes like stay focused, keep going, and also things that you're not supposed to do. So I had one client who was a little bit addicted to gaming, and he had a sticky note at his gaming computer what was like stay focused or you have some better things to do. And every time he wants to start his gaming computer, he's reading that. And I think, yeah, that was one of the best advice that I could give is like be aware of what you are doing and be aware of what you want to do, but also with your goals. Yeah, I think that's one of the best advice, like writing up your goals. What do you really want? Is also one of the reasons people are not achieving their goals is they are not reading them enough. So write them on a little card and keep them close to you, next to your bed. When you wake up, you read them. Before you're going to bed, you read them. And especially before you're going to bed, because then you're going to close your eyes and then you're going to think about your goals. So, yeah, little things can help a lot, especially writing stuff.
Mm. And I wanted to know, like, how does a person actually get to kind of coaching people and helping them with stuff?
Yeah, well, at the beginning, I'm a nobody. So I just messaged them. I was helping already a lot of people in one of the Discord servers that I'm in. And then I was contacting people like, okay, I want to start. It's gonna be a win-win. You are gonna give me like feedback, and I'm gonna give you like free coaching. And first they're gonna think like, but I don't have to pay, right? I said no, it's free, and because it's free, you can't say no. And I know you're struggling with things, and maybe it's are like simple things, writing goals down. What do you actually want? But I was telling them like I'm like more like a accountability partner. So because right now, of course, you are saying you have goals and you are gonna achieve them, but are you really gonna do it? Like because one week we have another video call and we're gonna discuss what are the things that you are doing, and they like the idea of having someone who are keeping them accountable, and that's what I was for. Also, like sending. We didn't have only video calls. They could also message me during the day, and I was responding back and forth if they have like any problems. So yeah, it's more like a accountability partner, and I think like everyone needs someone to keep them accountable. Not everyone is really like disciplined to keep themselves accountable, but I think like a quick meetup with a friend online you have every week, or if it's like every Sunday, a 50-minute call. Hey, how was your week? How was your week? Nice. Did you do those things? Yeah, yeah, I did those things that I was telling you before. Thanks for asking me and keeping me accountable. Yeah, I think it's that simple.
Yeah, I do agree on that. Especially with, I had with this podcast that kind of the people I'm doing this with make me accountable, because not sometimes I want to do this podcast, I don't think I'm ready or all of that stuff, but I kind of made a promise that on this hour and this hour I will have a podcast and I want to be prepared, so I kind of need to do this, and the accountability you have with people can help. But of course, it isn't just the one thing that keeps you accountable. It kind of just the final touch that you
Yeah,
need.
yeah, that's true. And I was always completely honest with them. I told them like before, okay, we're it's free, but we're gonna have some terms and conditions, and those are three things. Like one, you're giving me feedback of how I'm doing it. Two, you're gonna work with the systems that I have, and three, you're gonna give me like an honest review after, so I can use those review for people in the future. And especially with the systems, those systems are like pretty basic. SMART goals.
I think I know the framework, but I'm not quite sure. I don't remember exactly how
Yeah,
is it.
yeah, and also like there's another model. It calls when I went into coaching and I had like the online edit. It was like the grow model. And for example, I told them like, okay, we're gonna use this model, and they was like, grow model, what's that? And it was very simple. Like every letter stands for something. So the G is like for what's the goal, the R is for like what's the reality, where are you now, the O is like what are the options, and the W was like okay, what's the way how we are gonna do this? And those are the things that I'm discussing with them then. Back in the days that I telling them, okay, we're gonna use this system, and believe me, if we're gonna work out this system, it's gonna work.
What system do you think like work the best for people?
Yeah, I don't think it's like a specific system. It's
Mm.
just like write down what you want without any expectations from others, and it has to be realistic, you know? So just write down what you want and think about it and ask yourself at the end, start with why. I think that's the best system. It's also a book online from someone,
Yeah, yeah.
the author, but it's like start with why. After everything you want and you think you can do it, start with why. Why can I not do this? Okay, why can I not achieve this? And I think besides that, and the model that I use, the grow model, is one of the best systems.
Yeah. It just, sounded like it kind of so interesting when you said that to me because all of that, shortcuts sound especially cool when you hear them. And yes, of course, it's kind of, I think the first steps for people, maybe the hardest with they don't know what they want. And I think the author of that book, like Find Your Why, or I don't know the exact, like how is it, the headline, but it's Simos, like something with Simon. And then I'm not sure of the last name. But yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's very simple, It's like finding your finding your why and what's your burning desire to do it, and especially the burning desire is important, because if your why is strong, it's much easier for you to achieve what you want.
agreed. It's like that quote that a strong why can how was it? Strong why kind of breaks or figures out anyhow. So I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
it's something like that for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I understand what you mean.
Yeah,
Because if you have a strong why, the rest is coming. You don't have to figure out everything yet. The rest is coming. If you have a strong why and you write up your goals, what I said, you read them every morning, you read them every night. You can even read them during the day when things are getting hard, having a photo of it on your lock screen on your iPhone, not from an artist or a footballer, but from your goals, then it will be much easier.
agreed, agreed. But the one thing that I have with the lock screen is that I'm the kind of person that if I look at it too much, it's kind of I stop absolutely giving attention to it because it is I've seen it so many times that it's kind of oh, I've seen this and I just don't pay any attention to it. So for me, I think the better strategy is like reading it actually every morning and every night. I think is the best one. But I get it why people kind of it works for them if they have a poster note or they have it on their you know log screen and all the stuff.
Yeah, I will tell you like a funny story. But with the lock screen is, sometimes I have a car there that I really liked. I'm not really into cars. I just like the car and I want to have the ability later to buy that car. Uh, so yeah, I have a picture of a beautiful car. It's a Porsche 911. Thinking like, okay, maybe in the future, hopefully, I'm gonna get that car. And but sometimes I also have like a photo of my family, my wife and my son. And I had a discussion with a friend, or not discussion, conversation, and he was like, some days are hard, but when I see when I see that picture, I know why I am doing it. And it was not a picture on the phone, but on our Apple Watch. And if you see that picture, then you're thinking, okay, yeah, I know why I am doing this. And also with the funny story that I was wanted to tell, we've here like I right now live in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and we have here like a very big building. And I was thinking like, so I really want to live here. I really want to have the option to live here, and I had that on my lock screen. And I was in the gym and I was talking with somebody from school back in the days, and he's now also into self-improvement. And then he saw my lock screen, and he said, "What's that?" And I said, "Yeah, this is the building, you know, Sam Tower, we call it." And he was showing his lock screen, and it was also Sam Tower. So we had like the same lock screen, only it was the same tower, but he has like a different picture of it. But it was like, yeah, I also want to go there, and then we talk about goals, podcasts, books, and that's like funny how the connection can comes, you know?
Yeah. How big of a connection can, just come up when you have the same lock screen?
Yeah,
That's a great story. And yeah, actually, just kind of reminding yourself why you do it. I think many people have their family or family member on their lock screens, and all of that stuff for sure.
yeah, that's true.
Okay, and one of the probably last topics I wanted to touch on, because we are kind of running out of time. But if time goes fast in a conversation, I think we've done a great job, especially you. I think you did great. But one of the last one is, how can people get through, like, overcome those distraction that they have in mind, basically those internal ones, because of course when you scroll and you do all of that stuff, you do it so much that it kind of gets in your head, and you're bored, you're this, you have all of these emotions that you want to stop, and you can't focus because of that. And how do you overcome it?
I think the best way to remove the distractions is do it in little steps. So, yeah, if you want to eat healthy, if you don't want to eat like donuts and chips and chocolate anymore, you don't have to buy it. That means you have to remove the triggers. That's important. So you don't walk in that store, you know where the chocolate is in that store. You don't have to look at it, you don't have to walk there. So for the same is with your phone, right? Of course, you can turn it off, but to remove like the trigger, put it in another room. Just don't have it. Then it's much easier for you to focus on what you really want. So I think removing the triggers is one of the most important stuff. I think one example is especially with achieving your goals, and for example music. Like if you don't want to go to parties anymore and you want to work on your goals, but you're still listening to the music that they are playing at the party, yeah, that's a trigger for you, you know? So it's much easier for you, like, okay, first step, you don't go to the party, but the next step and the better step is remove that trigger. Don't listen to the music that they are playing at that party, because then you're not gonna think about the party anymore.
Yeah, I think, yeah, as you said, it's about kind of noticing, the awareness of those triggers, and what and why is it and what it goes, and kind of removing it. And especially, as we talked about before, and the importance of not having just enough options. And if you don't have enough, like, not enough, you don't have a lot of options, how much stuff you can do. And one technique I kind of heard was, when you want to do this task, like, there you have only two options. You either sleep, because when you're tired you probably will not be able to focus, or you will do that task, nothing in between. And when your mind kind of gets bored, even doing the task itself that maybe was boring, like next to the scrolling and all of the stuff, becomes exciting again.
Yeah, that's true. And especially your environment is also very important, you know, because there are people who want to stop procrastinating, stop drinking, stop smoking, but they are still hanging with people who are procrastinating and drinking and smoking. And yeah, if you are in that environment, then it's much more difficult for you to achieve your goals. So I think also your environment is like a very important note for you.
Yeah, for sure. environment is a big topic. And especially some people maybe like me or something that they can really change their environment. I think changing your environment maybe can be even, changing your room a little bit, cleaning your desk. That is basically is not as big. It may not be as, big of a change. Or it can help a lot, especially like around you stuff. You can just rearrange things in your room. I think that can help a lot too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because people already know it. Like a messy desk is a messy mind, and if you're cleaning up your room, yeah, you have more room in your head to think about stuff you want. You know. So especially what you say, like it can already be like the small things. And people get rest in their head from different things. Maybe someone from cleaning up the room and doing like fixing their closet, putting everything on color and stuff, you know, stuff like that.
Agreed on that. There are some people that do that. And yeah, I think it's the end of the podcast. We've done a solid an hour and a half, and I just wanted to thank you for being here. I hope you talked about the stuff you wanted to talk about. I hope you just share what you wanted to share. And yeah, I we had a great time, and I'm thankful that you were here.
Yeah, also I'm thanking you for your invite as well. And yeah, I think we had a very good conversation. At the beginning, if you're telling to people, yeah, we're gonna have an online video call from 90 minutes. But yeah, during the conversation, you don't see like the time. It means it was a good conversation. So yeah, also thank you again for your time.
Yeah, thank you too. Yes, and I wanted to thank the viewers. I hope you had something from it. I would love to hear your opinion, all of your perspectives, or even your tips in the comments. Would be great, and see you at the next one.
See you in the next one.
Yes.